Cyber Exhibit podcast brought to you by Cybersecurity.And. And today, I have a special guest with me. Her name is Olivia Rose. Olivia Rose is a dynamic Chief Information Security Officer and proven executive leader with over 20 years experience building, transforming, and delivering successful IT and cybersecurity programs. She possesses a rare blend of technical, governance, and business acumen and can easily articulate cybersecurity strategy and initiatives to both C-suite, board of directors, and technical audience. And today, our topic is cybersecurity and the business, aligning with the strategic objectives. Stay tuned.
Hi, my name is Olivia Rose. I'm really happy to be here. I am a two-time Chief Information Security Officer. I have been in cybersecurity for about 22 years, and I love it. And I love being on podcasts and talking about different subjects. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Olivia. You're welcome to the show. Okay.
Yeah.
How can a business determine its risk tolerance in the case of a security incident?
So the risk tolerance is really defined by the nature of the threats that impact the business. So different types of companies and different industries have different threat profiles. For example, a retailer such as that has stores, such as Walmart, one of their largest attack vectors are through the point of sale systems. But you wouldn't find that necessarily at manufacturing companies. So it's important to look at what is your true threat landscape, and then that impacts really the amount of risk that you're able to tolerate. And it's important to have your executive team accept that risk tolerance, because they have to tell you what they are willing to accept and what they're not. Because as you know, from your recent training, right, that there's no such thing as zero risk. There's always risk. So executives need to understand that and accept it as a tolerance.
Okay. So, as an organization, what are the steps to take to plan ahead for disaster recovery?
So there's a few ways. Ransomware, of course, is very connected to disaster recovery. So nowadays you have to kind of expect ransomware to happen, right? That someone is going to come in and lock up and freeze your files and your customer data and try to extort money from you. It's what happens a lot nowadays. And so disaster recovery is all about continuing the business, reacting and responding to when a disaster happens. It's very closely connected to business continuity as well. So the steps to plan ahead is to make sure that you are able to recover what you need to recover in the order that you need systems to be recovered, by order of priority.
Okay. Okay, I remember I worked on a project one time. I worked on security awareness for organizations. So I'm trying to ask now, what risk can security awareness in organizations solve? Like, can it really solve anything by training set of employees, or I don't know?
Well, yeah, security awareness is difficult. because human beings, the people, the employees and the users, they have the highest risk, because human beings don't always act the way that you expect them to act. And human beings can be fooled as well by some very good phishing campaigns. And some of them are really very good, especially with the introduction of AI, where you can be very easily fooled to click on a link nowadays. So the security awareness efforts, such as training and reminders, can help to increase employee and user awareness and understanding, but it can't ever really reduce the risk significantly because of what I just mentioned. People do. You have to expect the unexpected when it comes to users in your organization, because they're human beings, and also because the attackers are getting better at fooling people into clicking on things that they shouldn't. So security awareness can't really solve risks, but it can reduce risks to the organization.
Thank you. More like humans are the weakest links, regardless.
Yes.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay, so it is important for smooth communication to be between IT professionals and board of directors organization in order for everyone to be responsible security-wise.
Absolutely. You, especially the board of directors sets the tone with executive leadership and senior leadership at your company when you're in security. And so it's very important to be able to translate technical concepts to executive leaders and the board of directors so they understand what the true risks are to the company. Because if they don't understand it, you run the risk of what the board of directors and senior leadership not supporting you and your efforts, and not being responsible, and not giving you the budget and the headcount that you need to effectively protect the company. So it's not just on the board of directors to try to understand risk. It's also senior leadership to understand it and push it down throughout the organization, and also to the security leader to understand how to translate and have the risk truly resonate upwards to the leaders. All of these players need to communicate well with each other so they understand where the other side is coming from, or else you're not going to get buy-in for security, and it's not going to get driven down throughout the organization. And so you're fighting an uphill battle every day to try to protect the company.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Okay, so Olivia, I know that we have frameworks in cybersecurity. So how can organizations follow regulations, especially frameworks, so it can align with their objective security standards? Like, there's so many frameworks. Okay, what are the things they need to do? They need to employ an actual cybersecurity, maybe risk and compliance officer to make them know and where this is where we need to go, what we need to do. How can they go about it?
Well, frameworks are very, very helpful. They're excellent. Compliance, though, is not necessarily as helpful to have a successful security program. You'll often hear security professionals say, compliance does not equal security. So compliance with something where you're just doing things to check the boxes to say that you've gotten them done does not necessarily mean that you are effectively protecting the company. However, frameworks like the NIST Cybersecurity Framework version 2.0 just came out this week. Those are very helpful because those give you the recommendations and the concepts of what should you have in place to meet certain levels of security standards and then therefore reduce your risk. And it's a lot more flexible than compliance tend to be. So it's using frameworks is really good, but you also have to adapt it to your organization. Because what I was saying in the answer to your first question, every company is different and every industry is different. So you have to really understand your company and your industry to be able to know how to apply these frameworks, to use them to your benefit.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. I want to know, there's this popular, should I say this famous quote that cybersecurity is an organizational problem, not just a technical problem. Do you agree with this, and why?
Oh, yes, I agree with that. And also the shift of the last few years that we're seeing shows that the industry agrees with that as well, because chief information security officers are no longer very technical, just technical. They have to also understand technology, but be able to apply it to the business, align with the business, to be able to support the business and have security become a business enabler. And that's the tricky part. But I think because we've seen that change over the past few years, where it's not just a technical function, but it's also a business function, that shows that it is an organizational function. It is an organizational issue and not just focused on technology. That's one of the things that makes a CISO's job so hard, is because you have to not only have the technical understanding, but you also need to, what I call, play nice in the sandbox with other functional leaders and the rest of the company, and be able to negotiate and align with the business and position security as an enabler and market security. It's very difficult to do. And so now you have to do both of those things to be effective. So yeah, it's not just a technical problem anymore. You have to understand several other soft skills and also marketing.
Okay, thank you very much. It was so nice. I just wanted to drop like the tip for out there. What's that one cybersecurity you can drop to them that would help them, that will enable their business, that also fit with their strategic objectives?
You went in and out there. What is the one tip that I would have for a company?
Yeah, security. Or just companies out there that could enable their business, strengthening their cybersecurity practices.
Okay. Actually, my one tip is aligned. It is very close to what I was just talking about. My one tip is that many times the security function is put in the IT or engineering or the technical function. So it reports up to a chief technology officer, for example, or a chief information officer, which is also a technical function because it's seen as a security function. And that's not the case anymore. Security is not just security. It is not just a technical function, as I was saying. So it's all about risk and reducing risk. So my tip is, if you want to have true security foundational practices baked into your company so that your risk is truly reduced across the board, then you need to put the security function under a non-technical reporting structure. So put it under legal, for example, because legal understands risk. They understand risk reduction. Or put it directly reporting to the CEO, for example. That's tough to do, but there's another option. But don't automatically put security under technology, because that's what happens all the time. And it's not just a technology function, it's also a conflict of interest, because many findings and gaps that you have are that need to be remediated by the engineering teams, for example. So if you are reporting to the same manager as the engineering teams are, then you are not able to present the case to reduce the risk. You essentially have to do what your manager is telling you that you have to do, because they're your manager. But your manager is also thinking about the engineering side, which tends to focus on keeping the systems going and maintaining uptime and making sure operations are moving, which can be slightly different from what security's goals are. But if you are reporting to the same manager, that's a conflict of interest.
Thank you so much, Olivia, and thank you to the audience for listening, for sticking it to the end with us. Well, I have a few tips for organizations on how to improve their security postures. 1, make sure that you conduct regular security posture assessments. 2, consistently monitor networks and software for vulnerabilities. 3, define which department owns what risk and assign managers to specific risk. 4, regularly analyze gaps in your security controls. 5, define a few key security metrics. And lastly, don't forget that security is everyone's responsibility. Thank you.